Thanks. And so I'll probably post this to YouTube. So this is a Gauntlet playtest of Defy the Gods, a queer sword and sorcery PvP adventure game. I'm going to hide the characters that nobody picked. And do you have any questions for me left hanging from last time? And if not, do you want to introduce your characters?
Sure. I don't think I have any questions. I don't know what has changed since the last time. I feel like there might have been a change or two. There's a couple changes in the keeper.
Okay. Yeah, I'm losing track of who's seen what. So
I'm also fine to roll with it, and when it comes up, y'all when it applies, you can
totally
if I do a wrong thing.
So I've been modifying the relationships and also the combat system, and we'll go through after introducing your characters. We'll go through the relationship questions, and you can try those out. They're pretty new, and then I can go over what's changed with combat too. And we might want to do a little more world building. I know that a lot of world building has been done, but we're also pretty new as a group. So we can go over the world building we already have and see if anybody has ideas for other things they want to see. But we'll start with the characters.
Cool.
Let's see. Mary, do you want to go first? Just going in character order.
Sure. I'm playing Alara. Her pronouns are she, her. She's the sword playbook. She's a young, impulsive fighter. Yeah, she has short sword, and I picked the cut the Gordian knot move, which lets her resolve situations by just rashly doing violence, I believe. Yeah, resolve. And drink deep, which is a party it up to heal move.
Cool. Mark, go for it.
Yeah. I am Solon the sorcerer. They go by they, them. Their gender is a whispered secret. They have commanding eyes behind this full face bronze. Oh, here it is. Full face bronze mask. And moves in unusual ways. I think, I think I have my sorcerers mixed up, but I may have gotten an extra vertebra at some point. I don't remember. I do move strangely.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
I was playing Swords of the Serpentine as well, and that may have been a sorcerer thing that happened there. But either way, and has hollow voice behind the mask as well. I just have a bunch of spells, mostly. I can do all sorts of stuff depending on how my dice come up. So that's going to be a good time. I think I'm currently a giant owl, unless we want to do something else with that.
Oh, right.
Right.
Oh, right. You're a giant owl.
All right. Yeah, I'm an owl.
I'm playing Zal, who is the Wolfling playbook. And their gender is unmarked. And they were fostered by the Boar clan, but are human and have a kind of awkward relationship to boar behavior. In that I think they have a little bit of a I don't really know how this body works. Certainly don't know how a society works. But what I remember from the last time is trying to use my arms like they were tusks and running around attempting to tusk folks with the arms because I decided that their outlook was very enthusiastic, and so have been kind of envisioning them as a not very wise but super keen youth of the group.
It sounds like Alara is young too, so you've got a lot of impulse. Solon is the the wise elder, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However old that might be, which might not be that
Right,
old.
right. Right. Yeah, Max, doesn't Zal have like these two daggers that act as prosthetic tusks?
Yeah. There was
Yeah.
two bone daggers that I tried to
Mhm.
use like they were tusks. I think
Right.
it went rather well, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
I think it did
yeah.
actually. It might have looked awkward, but was quite successful at goring some scorpion men.
Scorpion dudes,
Scorpion
yeah, I think.
people, yes. Yeah. Okay, so going over to World Forces tab, we've got our pantheon of gods, with these layers that we be from all the people who've contributed, some of whom are not here anymore in the group. Elkun is the moon goddess and god of cats, fortune, luck, and mirrors. Kifrit is the god of the sun and rivers and endings. I believe we said that rivers were formed from Kifrit's blood. He was killed by a mortal way back when, and that's what helped make the world fertile. I think before then, the sun was just burning everything. And now Kifrit is born anew every sunrise and dies every sunset. And he's never forgiven humans for the whole death thing. Rook is the god of death and earth and stone and flesh and hunters. Ses is the god of beauty, gold, gems, lies, trickery, and writing. Nuwa is the god of the sea, and Sukhet is the god of the harvest. Mostly Elkun, Kifrit, and Rook have come up in stuff we've done so far. Sorcery is expressed. It has control over destiny, serpents, secrets, and lost children. And these are just places in the world where one can expect to find sorcery more often than not. Sorcery chooses its own timing, sometimes inconvenient, and leaves a mark on flesh. It's some of its tendencies. So that's our sort of the balance of reality between the gods who want to bring order to everything and sorcery that brings chaos to everything. The city that we're in is Urud. It's located between two rivers, and it's ruled by a sphinx in a palatial temple, and has a fertile farmland that it's known for. And then we sketched in this other city, Thonis, but I don't think it's actually come into play yet. Is there anything that anybody would like to add to our list of wild terrain and creatures and terrors and wonders, or to anything about the gods or the city? I mean, I'm thinking especially of you, Mary, since you didn't get a chance to weigh in on this stuff at the beginning.
Yeah, I'm looking and seeing.
Sure.
I'll add a cursed graveyard from the Terrors and Wonders. That sounds fun.
Excellent.
Nice.
Excellent. And if we need to refer back to the Sin of Time to try to understand the world we're in, you know, we totally can't. Okay, so I have this new tab called the Party, and it originally had 13 questions for each playbook, and that was too many. So I've been able to get it down to 6. And each of you should choose 2 of them and ask somebody ask two other players 2 questions total. And if they agree to start a relationship with you, then you both can assign a certain number of heart dice to it. So we are 3 players, so each of you has 4 heart dice to apportion out to your relationships, including the ones that come from other questions other people ask you. So so again, I'll go in character keeper order and start with you, Mary. What questions look good to you? And also feel free to take some time to look at these and figure out which ones appeal to you.
I think I'm gonna, does 5 sound good for Zal? Like, who did you go close to over a drunken night of wine, meat, lovers, and song? Maybe not lovers and song, but just sort of partying it up. Or song, sure. But
Is that, I was reading these inverse. I was reading like the ones under us are the ones that are asked to us. Is that the intention here?
No. The ones, sorry, thank you for asking. But no, the ones under you are the ones that you ask somebody else.
Oh, all right. I was like, oh, because all mine are like specific to the wild, so I wouldn't assume that they would necessarily apply to other folks. I mean, I'm tempted to say Solon because we had previously established that there was an awkward night in the woods when Solon was transfigured, whatever, I don't know, as a boar.
Right.
Oh.
And there was and I was the one who caught them without being like, I'm not a woods cop. That's not whatever.
I mean, I love that story. That would be a time when Solon had relations with the boar. And this is somebody that Alara went partying with in the city.
Oh, I'm great. I was very confused. I was like, well, I feel like this is.
I've totally changed things up too. So
yeah. Like it's not a question about Zal. It is a question that I, Max, am answering about Alara.
No, well, potentially about Alara and Zal. If that sounds like something that you're cool with your character having done with Alara, then then she'll put your name, she'll put Zal's name down for that.
I get it. I apologize for my extreme confusion with what is a totally simple and assisted presence. And it's like an actual question. Yeah, sounds great. Let's get drunk. Sounds wonderful.
Awesome. Okay, Solon, do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with number 5 as well. How has sorcery remade my body in a way that I love, despite all its strangeness? And I'm gonna go for the elongated spine, just to nail that down. I really love having some extra vertebrae that make me a little bit more snaky, and I'm pretty sure that's gonna be Zal.
That makes sense.
Yeah, spooky body buddies.
Yep.
I forgot we established that snakes, because they're associated with sorcery, that their skins have the record of their lives in them, and sometimes that includes forbidden spells.
Yeah.
For some cave of snake skins out there. Oh, and Laura, I should have added more to that question. How did that drunken night go? Are you and Zal close now? Did anything unintended or unexpected happen?
Hmm. I'm thinking it probably went a bit excessive in drinking or gambling or something fun. Like we got way more drunk than we wanted.
It does sound like we have impulse control issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds great.
I don't know how close we are, but
Mhm.
Yeah, but like experiences we're had.
yeah.
I feel like that's the normal way of youth, right? Like you do something and then like years later you're like, oh, that did make us closer, but it didn't necessarily feel that way at the time. It just felt like whatever. Wild night.
Yeah.
That makes me sound much older than I am. That sounds like the way of youth. I don't know. As youths.
Whippersnappers.
Zal, go ahead and ask a question of somebody else.
Yeah. I think because there's some of this has kind of already been established. I think I'll pick number 1 for good old Solon. I feel like the
Yeah.
is maybe my reason for heading into the city.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I think the goal for learning is probably just simply how do I function in society? Like what is the other part of me and what does that look like? And might even just be like, is that appealing at all? Like not even like I'm not even committed to the idea yet. Just like, what's that like? Is it good to know? Okay, bye. Like the answer can for sure be no.
Like you're ready to dash back into the wilds at any moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Alara, go ahead and ask another one.
All right. I think I'm gonna go with number 6 for how did death first touch your life? How has its shadow followed you ever since? And who you told about it? I think her older sibling was killed during some raid on her town or wherever she's from.
Mhm.
And that in part led to her taking up fighting to try to get revenge and whatever. And she doesn't normally talk about her older sibling, but I think she's confided in Solon about that.
Cool. What was your sibling's name? Of course, I ask names, and names are hard. But,
The hardest part of role playing.
It totally is. Yeah. Well, you can think about it, and you can look at the pick list too if you want.
Yeah.
I want her to be a presence. So, what do you want to ask?
I think I'm going to go for number 3. The Pantheon hates sorcery. What difficulties have I faced from Pantheon God or their temple, and who has made that a little bit easier for me, and why? I think I want to go with Rook, the death god over there. I think that's a fun and dangerous choice. How have they made it difficult for me? I think, maybe in the past when I'm probably a little bit of a loudmouth when it comes to that kind of thing. Maybe the priests of Rook have actually brought some of my old rivals back from the dead to sort of like come back and mess with me. And then I guess that would be Alara that helps me with that by helping put them back where they belong.
Now, were these sorcerers brought back from the dead?
I think
rival sorcerers?
either sorcerers or their lackeys.
And you were able to kill them again, Alara?
Yeah, I don't know if they stayed at a second time, but
Yeah.
they bother Solon less while they're dead.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think maybe they still like appear to you, Solon, like in the distance or out of the corner of your eye, as just shades, murmuring insults. But
Yeah.
you can like wave them off. You know, they're
Love
not
that.
physically revived anymore. Let's see. Okay, that's awesome. Thank you all for that. There's a new core move. I don't know. Yeah, we didn't have this last time that Mark and Max were here. Grapple with the environment. I'm open to new names for it, but it's the move for doing something risky physically, jumping, leaping, climbing, so that it's possible for that to introduce complications and we don't just hand wave it. Then the other moves, well, beseech the forces when you want to ask for help from one of the powerful forces in the world, and which always introduces problems. Reel from a mighty blow, which you wouldn't pick. I would say that you have to roll that, and that's taken directly from masks, where if you take a hit, you roll with as many dice as you have wounds, and see what the fallout is, what the consequences are. And then there are all the heart moves. Speak Your Heart is for forging a relationship with a new NPC or with a PC, or strengthening the relationship you already have with somebody, or trying to make amends with somebody that you're enemies with and sort of get back to zero with them. Soothe is for clearing the harm that people have taken, whether that's wounds or moods, and I'll go over what those things are, or clearing a box with the curse track. And Influence is to try to change somebody's mind. We also have a few playbook specific versions of this, so I'm interested to see if this is redundant, or if the playbook moves seem redundant. But with a PC, they can either, depending, regardless of how you roll, they get a choice of whether to get a benefit for doing what you want or to not do that, and take a small penalty. And Hearten is the move where somebody else has rolled their glory and doom dice. They don't like the result, it's too low or it's too high. And so you roll with the heart dice that you have in your relationship with them, and they can choose to pick one of those dice to replace one of the dice that was part of their result. And that is, I think that's the same from last time. And then Persevere has never come up yet, and we'll see if it actually proves useful. But that's for staying in the scene when you normally be taken out. I'm gonna go back to the characters tab and go over how harm and combat work now, or how I'd like to try it out. Now you can, whether it's through combat or somebody trying to influence you, or somebody just making you feel bad, you can mark moods as well as wounds. So you can mark a mood. The first one doesn't have any mechanical impact, but the second one makes you lose an advantage. I'll go over what advantages are. And the third one may force you to just act rashly or uncontrollably, including fleeing the scene. With wounds, the first one also no longer has any mechanical impact, but if you take 2, you have to roll with 1 fewer glory die. You could always roll with your heart dice and your curse dice, but you might have 1 fewer glory die, and then it just keeps getting worse, to the point where the only way you could act is if you mark curses and roll with curse dice. And then when you have to mark a new wound and you can't, then you're taken out, you're knocked unconscious or made, so you can't act anymore. Debilitated, I think is the word I'm looking for. So so now there's sort of 2 tracks and they have slightly different mechanical effects, and they heal differently. With the soothe mood, you can get somebody to clear all their moods, but they can only improve their wounds by 1. The deal with advantages is that and this is partly to help my own kind of misconception about combat in Powered by the Apocalypse games, but also because this is a fantasy game, it's to make it clear how it's distinct from, say, an OSR game. Before you can inflict a wound on your enemy, you have to, or avoid taking harm from them, you have to have an advantage that you can spend. So there are several moves that one of the options is to create an advantage. And this is just a fictional positioning that we add to the scene that gives you some kind of leg up. Then when you do a direct combat move like clash head on for the sword, or lunge for the wolfling, you can use one or more of those advantages to inflict 1 or more wounds. And depending on what kind of advantage it is, that might use it up, or it might still be around in the scene for other people to make use of. And we'll just handle that by the fiction. And if you want to avoid taking wounds, again, you can use an advantage to say, well, I duck behind this thing, or I am sheltering somebody's shield, or whatever the advantage is. And you can, the sword, you can avoid taking as many wounds as you have advantages for, and you can inflict as many wounds as you have advantages for, but you can't do it without having those. You can still use clash head on to create an advantage, or to take something from the enemy, or to make the enemy mark a mood. You don't need an advantage for that. And like similarly with the wolfling, you can use advantages to inflict as many wounds as you have advantages to spend. And you can't avoid taking wounds, but you can choose the option of ignoring the effects of wounds for your next move, which seemed a little more thematically like somebody raised by wolves or wild animals. And rather than taking something from the enemy, you can destroy something of the enemies. So that's basically combat. And for the sorcerer, of course, the rules are different for you because you just have this eldritch blast that you can use to cause harm to somebody. And maybe it would make sense for that spell to say, you mark a wound or a mood unless you have an advantage that you can use to not do that. I wasn't thinking of advantages as being possibly eldritch, but they could be. I'll just write that in.
Cool.
So let's see. Then, anybody have questions about that? It might also become clear when we get into it. Okay. So Mark and Max, when last we got together, you were at this weird city in the middle of the desert, in the middle of, down a pit. We could continue with that and bring Alara in for that, or we could rewind and do a new adventure. I haven't made a strong decision about that. I think we could pretty easily do either. Although I would take away the cliff. I think I would do away with the cliffhanger that we ended with, where there was this gigantic monstrous beast coming out of the, and maybe slow our roll a little bit and not escalate things quite so high. So we would either start in that abandoned city, ruined city in the middle of the desert, or we'd go back to Urud and sort of start over. I don't know, Mary, what sounds appealing to you as a sword? Do you want to get a sense of Urud?
I'm fine with either. I kind of like just jumping in with where you left off.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's do that. But let's take a short break, if you don't mind, and then maybe 5 minutes, and because it's as good a place to break as any, and then we'll jump back in.
Sounds good.
All right, cool. Hey, welcome back. Okay, so Zal, did you ask a second question for the relationship?
I don't think I
I'm
did.
sorry. All right, sorry. Please go ahead and do that.
It's all good. I think I was going to do the who comes closest to giving you the simplest wordless physical intimacy that you would get from an animal. And I mean, the answer is Alara, because that's the relationship we're trying to make. But I was gonna say, I feel like it's kind of I don't know if anybody here's a dog person, but when dogs are very comfortable with you, they like put their butt against you, like they'll turn their back to you and kind of like weasel in. And I feel like that's maybe my jam. Just like a little bit of
awesome.
okay.
That's great. Okay, so let's see. Go ahead and portion out your 4 dice in the character. Let me clear these. Yeah, that works. And then Mark, Solon has a relationship with Herma, right? Sorceress that you found there. You can add 2 dice for that, because the minimum is 2 dice.
Cool.
Yeah, so Alara, so there's this oasis in the middle of the desert, and it's a grove of palm trees surrounding this rocky pit that goes down for like 100 feet. And I think that you've been drawn out here because of a tip that you got about the raiders who killed your sibling. So you've got a couple camels, you've got provisions for making it out here, and I think somebody who was talking too loudly in a marketplace said something about riding with these raiders and how they this is their safe haven out here in the desert where nobody will come follow them, and you wrangled the location of this place out of them, and now you've come here and it is disappointingly empty of raiders, except there is this caravan of camels and some lizard people who are here, and then there's some ropes going down into the pit. I forget, did the lizard people go down with you, or did they stay up top? I think they stayed up top.
I feel like everyone came down.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not sure.
Yeah, I thought there was some.
Oh
somebody
yeah, because they were
convinced
looking
everyone.
around in their abandoned city
Hmm.
for a magical gemstone, I believe.
Mhm.
So Alara, down in the pit, there are these sandstone ruins of an abandoned city, and they're built on top of these obsidian ruins that are much larger, that are made strangely. There's huge domes and soaring colonnades and lacy bridges, things that are pretty much impossible. Nobody builds like that. And then you can hear these noises down there, people rummaging around, and a very large owl flying around. Right. So everybody's down there, so nobody's left with camels. So you could just take their stuff and go, but we won't do that. And let's see. Well, if anybody's answers about the raiders or where they might be, they're going to be down there.
All right, then into the pit. Assuming the camels don't look like they're from raiders, if they just look like they're a couple travelers.
Yeah. It's we'll just say there's some telltale marks of the raiders that these camels don't have.
All right.
Then then roll to do the descent. It would be grapple with the environment. So you always have your 2 glory dice that you can roll, and you'll get more with advancement. And if you want to improve your odds, you can invoke a curse.
Nah, I'll just roll.
Okay.
7.
Okay, great. So you're able to make it down, but I'll say that you make noise as you're coming down, and there's like bits of rock crumbling off of the inside of the wall, and that makes noise, and the lizard people are alarmed, and you make it down there safely, but they have they've drawn these daggers and are sort of circling around you warily. Zal and Solon, you recognize Alara immediately. You've spent some memorable times in the city, in Urud a while back, and had parted ways for a bit because she. Well, I presume, Alara, you were looking for the killers of your sibling.
Yeah.
And now here she is. Amazingly. So what do you do? What do any of you do? I mean, Alara, you can start killing lizards if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I think I will just awkwardly barge my way in between the lizard circle that is being formed, and just like a really big bear hug. Not even just like kind of ignoring potential upset of lizard folk.
Yeah, I circle around once or twice and then like land right next to Alara. Kind of do like put the wing over thing that chickens do. Or I imagine other birds do. I have chickens, so I know how they behave. They put their wing over you.
Oh, that's great.
Is the turning into an owl a thing Solon has done before, or is that just this time?
I've turned into things before. I don't know if I've necessarily done an owl before.
Right, so I might not recognize.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
But
so
you
it might
might
be kind
also
of
just
alarming.
take the leap.
Yeah.
Like
You
I
take the
feel
leap?
like,
Like this must be Solon. If it's weird, it must be Solon.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it with Zal before, so
Mhm.
I also really like the idea of just like Solon forgetting that they're just
Yeah.
in different forms every time, and then
That's just how I
greeting
am.
people- Yeah, just like greeting people with familiarity no matter
Mhm.
what.
Yep.
Mhm.
So maybe you've been met by like a crocodile snuggling you or something. You're like, what this? Oh, okay, it's you again.
Right. Yeah.
Is there something distinctive about you every time, Solon, or do you fully
Yeah.
embrace the owl thing?
I
You know?
think maybe I think it was an accident of Midjourney, but I think I do have the like one
Red.
kind of orange eye and one greenish, one teal eye. So
Yeah,
it's probably consistent across.
love it. Yeah, it's just a little bit like Disney Merlin, but
Yeah.
I think we're still on this side of cartoony. Yeah, no, I think that's great. I think that the glowing eyes is awesome. Alara, what do you do?
I think she was in the middle of drawing her sword when Zal like gave her a big hug. So she'll give him a hug back, but look warily at the lizard people. And
Yeah, the lizard people are backing off. There's a priestess who seems to command their respect, and she is she doesn't have the use of her legs, so she's being carried around on the back of the biggest lizard guy, and so and she says a few raspy things to them in a language you don't understand, and they back off. But they're still looking mistrustfully at you, and now kind of at Zal and Al Solon, because this. I think one of the lizards will barge into the circle and say, "This is not what we planned for. This is not what we are paying you for. The contract was just with you. This is our secret, sacred, holy city. We don't feel so great about this friend of yours barging in."
How secret could it be if somebody
Yeah,
just
somebody
found it
barged
in the
in.
middle of the desert?
Well, about that, and then this guy talks to you, Alara. It says, "How did you find this place? Is this?"
I didn't know that you were here, that this was some secret city. I heard there was a raider encampment here, and I was looking for them to get revenge.
The lizard guy turns and talks to the priestess, and there's some other talking amongst them, and a smaller lizard pipes up and says, "Well, that explains all the trash we found in the Great Hall. Like somebody's been camping out here." And
Are they still here?
we haven't found them. We haven't seen them. So but if we do, we'll definitely have some sharp words for them.
I think they should have sharp weapons too.
Well, we'll and the big guy suddenly gets a lot less confrontational, and it's like, "Oh, yeah, sure, but I think that your friends here are more than capable." And somebody was like, "Yeah, that's what we hired them for, is protection. So they can do that." And the lizards sort of slink away, and the priestess lizard sort of chuckling raspily at them.
We like encountered raiders on the way here, right? That was the
scorpion guys.
The
Yeah.
scorpion guys, that's right. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, it was actually a bit controversial in a previous session that there should be scorpion people and lizard people at all. Not everyone's idea of this genre, but they're in the story now, so we're gonna roll with it. Alara, was it scorpion people who who raided your village and killed your sibling, or was it other raiders?
I'm fine going with scorpion people.
Okay, all right. So then yeah, you all dealt with them enough that they ran away, but they could come back. So let's see, the lizard people haven't found their jewel, and they don't they're kind of distressed. They don't know where it could be. I'm trying to remember what we established about this thing you were looking for. Do you all remember? Because
Was it? I think it was embedded in the creature that came out. Was that
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so but what properties does it have? Did they say, or
don't
is that still a
remember.
mystery?
I don't
know if we
Okay, it's just
I don't know that we
that.
know
sacred to them. Yeah.
just being shiny.
Okay. Okay, I'm not gonna escalate things to the creature coming out, but because there's nowhere to go after that. So so I'll downgrade things a little bit. I think there's a sign that the in the lizard's sort of white city built on top of the black city, there there's a chamber where they expect the jewel to be, and instead the floor has caved in. And it seems to go down a long way. The lizard people are sort of pacing around the opening, and they're like, something caused a cave in here. Maybe the black city has become unstable. Maybe our gem is down there. So I think we should go look for it, and by we mean you. They're not very brave, the lizard people. So the sun is going to set soon. I want to say the sun is already low enough to have cast this pit into shadow. There's dim light filtering in from above, but the direct light is gone. Do you want to go exploring now? I mean, if you go down in that hole, it's going to be nighttime no matter what time of day it is. It's going to be dark. Or do you want to go back up top and make camp and come back down in the morning?
You know, I'm as per usual, I feel alive and enthusiastic. I feel
Right.
energized, but
Yeah, it's going to be dark either way, so you might as well.
Okay.
Why waste good sunshine?
Okay. So Alara, these lizards are on this mission that is not your mission, but there might be more information about the raiders. And the raiders might come back. So so your friends are here, and
Yeah, she'll go with her friends. She'll try to talk to them if they find out if they've seen raiders here or know anything. Or
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Saul would be like, "You're coming with us now. Like you're here. This is well, that's great.
She also
We have
wants
a
to
larger
know
group."
how you got to doing this lizard people gem search thing.
We didn't know it was lizard people when we started, but you know, everyone's different.
Right.
It's fine.
We also didn't know it was a
Paying,
gem
I
search.
assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were just bodyguarding, and then they sprung everything else on us.
Yeah, just a job.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So you can lower ropes down. The sinkhole in this room, there's a big rotunda that is clearly like 50 or 100 years old. I mean, it's older than anything in Urud. And then it goes down into a large open space surrounded by black pillars. This may be another 50 feet down. You can, it's like I said, you've got ropes that will let you go down there. Why doesn't everybody roll to grapple with the environment?
I'm just gonna fly down.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're gonna fly down. Sure, I forgot.
I'm
Yes,
just gonna
you're
fly
still
down.
All right. And you're able to go
Animal
down
I picked
first,
on a
and-
whim was great. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and you can see that there's it's like a gigantic rectangular space with some sort of rubble in the corner that then leads out to an enormous boulevard. Sorry, were you gonna say, Zal?
Oh, I'm also going to fly because of how poorly I did at holding on to a rope.
What did you roll?
I rolled a 5.
Okay, awesome. That's great.
Yeah, and I got a 6, so
We all
Ooh,
thought
oh.
flying would be fun. I thought it looked fun.
Excellent.
Guys, you need owls. You need wings.
you just need to turn us into owls.
I'm still
Okay,
learning that one. I'm still learning that one.
both of you mark a wound. And we'll just leave it at 1 wound for now. Then
Can I hearten them?
Yeah, you totally could.
Yeah.
Um,
How does that work? Cool. So I can roll dice assigned to that relationship. They can substitute one of the
Yeah.
dice if they want.
so who are you rolling
And then
for
we
first?
lose it, right?
Let's
No,
go
you don't lose.
with
You only lose a heart dice if they don't. If you only
right.
lose a heart die if you don't use one of them.
It looked like Zal jumped first, so I'll go with Zal.
Okay.
And let's
Would
do
be
dice.
like me to just leap into an abyss.
Yeah, I was prepared for this eventuality. I got 2 6s. Would you like one of
Hey.
them?
Sure, sounds great.
That might look like me seeing you and then come on.
Yeah, maybe he's like slipping and he's falling from the rope, and you come underneath him.
Yeah.
What does that get your result up to, Zal?
9.
Okay, much better. So you're able to soften your landing because there's an owl underneath you. And then let's see.
I love an owl cushion.
Okay, then how do you, do you want to roll to help Alara?
Yeah,
Yes.
let's see what that looks like. That's a 5 and a 6. You can have one of those too.
What does that get
Yeah.
you up to?
Yeah, so if I take the 6, that gets me a 9 as well.
Okay, excellent. So there's just an owl ferry service going on.
I'm gonna
And
skip the ropes next time. I'm just gonna ask for a ride down.
okay, so you don't have to mark a wound, but I think you should mark a mood still. Whatever seems most appropriate to you for the mindset that you're in.
Yep, that one.
So So you make it down, and it's quite dim in here. Everything's made of black stone, of obsidian. The obsidian is reflecting light from some unknown source, but that's sort of bouncing around from all the facets. But everything in here looks like it was made for people who are 20 feet tall. Solon, you know some things about the ancient Atlanteans, and they were maybe 7 feet tall, but they weren't 20 feet tall.
Could I do
Yeah.
an occult research thing to see if I remember anything about a place like this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Am I just rolling my 2 glory dice? That's it.
Unless you want to draw on some dark power and add a doom dice, but doom die. But yes.
Yeah, I think I'll just go for the 2 right now.
Okay.
See how that goes. That's an 8.
Okay. Ask one of those questions.
Let's see. Yeah, what hidden forces are at work in the scene?
Okay. There is definitely the effects of great forces that built this place. But let's see, what hidden forces are at work? Okay, yeah, you see that the light that is bouncing around these facets is coming from an entrance way at the far end of this chamber that is closer to person sized. It's maybe 8 or 9 feet tall, as opposed to 25 feet tall. And there is a green light coming from there, and you can hear in the stillness, you can hear a thrumming noise, a sort of, and this reminds you of scrolls you read of an Atlantean inventor who made a city that was a clockwork. And that he worked on a really big scale and made, you don't really have categories for it, but a city that was itself some sort of machine. And was, so there is, you can see that there's like there's a hidden engine in this city somewhere.
Cool. And I'll relate that story to my companions in the most flowery manner.
You guys, this isn't really right. I mean, Zal, this is like the weirdness of a human city on, taken to an extreme. It's getting farther and farther away from the wilds, but maybe this is what people are like, and this is all part of understanding people. Hard to say, but it's pretty weird. Alara, people aren't like this. Normal people don't do weird things like this, and it's all kind of beyond your experience. But at least Solon is here, and he seems to have some understanding of these kinds of things. The doorway that this light is coming out of is next to a huge pile of black rubble in the corner. I want to say that a single lizard man comes down with you, and he's like, I don't see the gemstone anywhere. If it fell through here, maybe something took it away, stole it and hid it somewhere in here, but we have to find it. It's hard to imagine anything living down here, but maybe some scavenging animal took it because it was shiny. I don't know.
Did you say there was a green light coming from the
Mhm,
doorway?
mhm, mhm.
Yeah, point with one giant wing in that direction.
Right. Are you gonna keep flying, or you sort of hop around?
Sort of hopping now with everyone else. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. The lizard guy has a single dagger and a sort of rope harness to put it on, but otherwise is rather slight. And Alara, you don't think he's going to be that good in a fight. Uh, so through the doorway is a staircase with a wall on one side that kind of curves down in a big circle, and it's open on the inner side, and you can see that there's like a big apparently obsidian shaft that goes down, and some big toothed wheels lower down that are on it that are moving around. And Solon, you recognize this kind of clockwork, but it's hard to see what the purpose of it is, what it's doing. But the humming, rumbling noise is coming from further down, and there is, I want to say that this stairway is full of this green light shining from below. I'm trying to think what else is going on there. There's a like a black box about a sort of flat, wide box that is kind of propped up against one side of the against the wall on the staircase, and it's like it's got these knobs on the side of it, and it's kind of I want to say it's maybe 3 feet wide, so it's sort of blocking your way on the stairs. What do you do?
Is it heavy?
It does seem quite heavy. Are you trying to lift it?
I'm like giving it like a little nudge to see, like, just like
Yeah,
get a sense of its weight, not like
yeah.
fully commit.
Okay, it's quite heavy. When you nudge it, the knobs sort of unfold into spiky legs, and it moves, and it rights itself, and sort of pushes off from the wall, and then stands there fully on the stairs with these 6 kind of crab legs. And you can hear it's got sort of a ticking and a whirring noise coming from inside of it too. What do you do?
Well, so I think my moves got reset because I had
Oh, okay, yeah.
ugly thing at one
Yeah,
point.
sorry, I think I missed that. So go ahead and click that. And
I can't unclick them. I can't unclick the other ones for some reason. I don't
yeah,
know
because
what.
they're not actually you get 5 total. So those are sort of core to the playbook.
Cool. There's just a bunch
Yeah.
more. Great.
Yeah.
Good.
And
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I think I want to use the ugly thing. I just love the ugly thing move so much. But also it feels like it might apply currently.
Yeah.
Which is just, I think there's like Zal has an instant like recoil repulsion response to just like how manufactured it is while trying to like mimic something organic, and would just like to ruin it.
Totally. Okay.
I also, I think I'm gonna roll with a curse dice
Excellent.
because it's fun and I want to figure out how it works. Like I'm like, it sounds like fun. It's fun. Which is a D10, right? So I'm rolling 2d6 and a D10.
It's D10.
Great. This is both my commitment to destroying it utterly, but also great. What's happening here?
What'd you get?
I got, the way it breaks them down, I got a 13.
Okay.
I guess, or a 9, but
oh no, you gotta take the top two. So
yeah, so 13. Doesn't that mean I do something extra bad?
Yes, it's great. No, you get what you want.
Love it. Into it.
But you also get other stuff. So
I love other stuff.
So let's see. I'm going back to the description. So you find its weak point and you destroy it utterly. And I think it's got a top like a lid that your bone daggers can just pry off. And I'm just picturing you going to town on it. It's like, it's terrible. And there's all this obsidian clockwork inside, these gears. And also in there are these little red and blue gems. And the whole thing comes apart in a clattering noise, and the gems are shining with their own light very brightly. And they're like tumbling down the stairs, or I think one of them falls off the side of the stairs and falls down. And let's see, so you destroy it, but also you destroy it, and there's this slightly larger gem in the middle, this blue gem, and you crack it open, and billowing waves of blue energy come out like smoke, and it takes the shape of a I'm trying to think of some kind of it takes the shape of like a glowing spectral rat, and it hisses at you, and I think it lunges for your face, Zal. And it is trailing this blue eldritch energy behind it. So what do you do? And you guys, this thing is like trying to lodge itself at Zal's face. It definitely does not look natural.
Alara, do you want to shot at it?
Doom, right?
Yeah, Alara is happy to step in front of Zal or towards the rat and try to stab it with her sword. She doesn't know if it's gonna work since it's spectral and might be a Solon thing, but
and you're gonna need to create an advantage first if you want to inflict harm on it. So you have a couple moves that allow you to do that.
All right. Yeah. So like tactical knowledge. Yeah. Although I don't know if I have a moment.
Yeah. There's well, you know, you could wait and you could watch and see what it does to Zal. Or you could use the clash head-on move to create an advantage also. So it would be sort of a feinting, you, like you say, interposing yourself and creating some sort of advantage that way.
Yeah, I think I'll try to do that.
Okay, awesome.
So I roll 2 dice,
Yes.
d6. Ooh, that is not good. 6.
Oh, 6. Okay. Let's see, Solon, do you want to help try to assist?
Yeah, this might be a Solon assist here. Would this be a Hearten again?
A Hearten, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. You can have that 4 if that does any good. I'll take you to an 8.
That's better than a 6.
Yeah.
So Solon, what does this look like as Alara is very bravely putting herself in the path of this thing? What does your help look like?
Yeah, so since it's this blue energy thing, maybe like as she steps forward, putting one wing on like the hilt of her sword and like blowing it up, giving a little bit
of eldritch energy to it,
matching his energy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Alara, you get to pick one from that list, which I imagine is to create an advantage.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess I'm thinking that the rat is taken aback by you and by the blue glow on your sword, and kind of wasn't expecting that, and wasn't expecting for anything else in this encounter to be glowing. So it has paused and it's uncertain, and maybe that's the advantage that you get.
That's good.
So yeah, I think also you in this moment you see that it is it seems to be trailing energy behind it to the broken open gem, and it seems to be kind of rooted to that gem somehow. Zal, what do you do? Are you
Panic and freak out? Where's the
yeah, there's not a freak out move, right?
Yeah, right, just like be uncomfortable, the move. No, yeah, I think really, I mean, I do think that's what happens, right? Like I think that Zal is just a very upset about this thing on their face. And
I think it's pulled back a bit. It's not on your face, it's just sort of in your face.
Yeah, I think probably it's more of a like, oh, get this fucking thing off my face, or get this thing off me, which might just be like an attempt to create an advantage.
Oh yeah, could be. And it doesn't have to be a move, you can also just like be like freaked out. But yeah, if you want
when it was on my face, I was gonna like lean my face into somebody else's attack. It was like, somebody please deal with this. In which here can I offer my face to you?
Right.
And but I think now that it's probably more of a like backing off and being like, Solon, please deal with this. This is your, I don't know what it is, but it seems like it's your problem now.
Solon, what do you do?
I can totally cast a spell on this thing. We'll see how that goes.
We can see what spell comes up.
Yeah.
Did you have all your spells marked? I think you get to mark one more.
Oh, cool. Can I do it after I? No. Let's do the obscurates, I think.
Okay.
Be helpful. Yeah, would this count? So it came out of this clockwork thing. Would this count as something I can use the +1 die from the move on coming
Yeah,
off of the Clockwork City?
yeah,
Okay, cool.
absolutely.
So that's going to be 3 dice. Oops, not 4, 3. 4, 6, and 1. Let's see. 4, 6, and 1. 4, 6, and 1. I can do a phantasm. I can do obscurance, and I think that's it. So I think let's do the phantasm.
Okay.
And I think what that looks like an overawing display of eldritch power. I think that's me kind of like putting my wings around Zal and then opening them up, and there's 4 more of him.
Oh,
So it doesn't
wow,
know which one to attack or them.
Okay, excellent.
Kind of into
So
this.
what'd you say?
Kind of into it.
4 more of you. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I think that confuses the rat. Alara, let's get back to you. You have an advantage. Are you going to try to attack it?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know whether I should be attacking it or the gem, but
Oh, good question. Yeah. Which would you like to try?
I'll go for the gem. It seems more solid.
Right. Awesome. Okay, go ahead and roll.
8.
Okay, so you can pick one of those. I imagine it's going to be to inflict a wound.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're able to break apart the gem into more pieces, and there's something soft in the middle of it that you're able to cut through, and the rat like gets a really sort of surprised look on his face and dissipates. It sort of floats upward before just diffusing into nothing, and the blue light goes out.
Well, that was simple. Alara, thanks.
There's 4 of me just kind of like back up for a snug.
It's a whole boar family of Zal. Like, yeah, I think that they're kind of they're just still around, the extra Zals.
What does our lizard buddy think of all this?
He is freaked out. He's just not sure what's going on. There's like a little leather pouch on a cord around his neck, and he's just holding on to it for dear life, remembering something, and his eyes are wide and really not sure about this. I think he says, I'm so glad you're here, all 7 of you, and I don't understand any of this. We were always told that there was a cursed city beneath our holy city. It's part of the totality of life, that the curse has to come with the blessings. But I never thought I'd be coming down here, and I definitely never thought I would see something moving down here. So I'm okay to go forward if you all are. But
that's why we get paid the big bucks.
That's right. I'm just really glad you're here.
And I think our friend Alara here has probably earned herself a share as well by taking care of that. Don't you agree?
Yes, absolutely. I'll raise it with my brother. I mean, leader, up top. I'm sure we can work something out. Yes. Let's get deeper and maybe we can find the gemstone and we can get out of here. So the what's left of this box crab robot thing, you can easily push off to the side or push down the stairs if you want, off the side of the stairs, but you can go forward, and you're able to make it to the bottom of the stairs without further incident. And there is the humming is very loud here, and there's a regular clacking noise, a series of overlaid clacking noises at different rates. And what you see is an immense chamber, maybe 100 feet wide, and just as deep, with all kinds of gears moving around, and sort of a big floor, making a lane down between these gears. But there's counterweights going and gears coming down into the floor, interlocking with other gears up top and below the floor, that you can see through the slots where it goes through. And it's really loud in here. You can see that there are gemstones embedded in the clockworks, and you can see more of these little crab box clockwork animals moving around also, and they are climbing up onto the gears. They're moving down the lane between the gears. They are, you can see that there's some gears further back that have stopped, and there's like maybe half a dozen of these crabs just all on that one gear, and they're busy with something there. And there's what I want to say, there's one of them that is dragging something behind it, which is a length of rope that it has in these two little pincers that are on the front of the box, and it takes it over to a couple other crabs, and they kind of climb on it, and they start using their pincers to fold up the rope, and it's not entirely clear what's going on, but they're very busy. What do you do? They don't seem to have noticed you, at least not yet.
Do any of these gems look like the one you're looking for, buddy? We've got a lot to choose from.
He says, no, they're impressive, but ours is a purple cabochon about 2 feet long, and it's smooth. These ones are all faceted. It's smooth, and it has the life of our god in it. And I can't. I don't know what is going on here, but I can't imagine that our gem would just be in a machine like this. But now you know what it looks like, and it has its own purple glow, and we'll know it when we see it. There is another entrance on the far end of this long, wide room that, and you can see this room is lit by the gems that are on the gears, most of them green, and and so that green light is just full, filling this room. Let's see. In addition to the doorway at the far end, I want to say that there's like a off to the right, there's a balcony, like there's a railing, and you can see it. There's some more open space that goes down deeper. So what do you do?
Maybe I was hasty in killing that one. We could just leave them alone.
Well, I mean, all you did was touch it, and it came after you. So it didn't come after you. It stood in your way. Right. It didn't come after you until you destroyed it.
Can you like make us indivisible?
In theory.
You can make yourself invisible.
I can make myself invisible, yeah.
Or
we could use some of your duplicates there, maybe have them distract some of the boxes while we try and get through.
Do they have eyes? Do they see us if we don't stab them?
They don't have visible eyes. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to find like a piece of rubble or something, like a big rock. I don't know. Something. And like hurl it as far as I can away from us, but near like some crabs.
A big rock. I'm gonna say
like it can be like hand sized, like it doesn't,
I think that there is a that this room is actually free from rubble, but there is like a pulley block that is hanging from 2 silver cords. It's hanging sort of it's one cord that sort of loops around like this, and it's hanging down there, and it's kind of bobbing up and down into a cavity in the ceiling and down. You could take that and throw it if you want.
Yeah, sure. What could possibly go wrong?
Right,
Sounds great. Let's start dismantling things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go for it. So this is going to be, I think, grapple with the environment.
Cool.
And maybe there's a better name for that would include throwing things. But yes, do a hard physical thing.
I rolled a 7.
Awesome. Okay. So yes, you're able to throw it. I think the complication is you don't take a wound or a move, but there's a complication, which is, so you throw it and it does what you want, which is, creates a clattering noise. So, okay, so in front of you is this long lane with the doorway at the far end. To your right is the balcony, past a few giant gears. And to the left, the gears seem to get more dense. Which way do you throw this pulley block?
I think to the right. The goal is just to see how they respond, like not.
Oh, okay, okay, all right, yeah.
It's just like, because in my brain I'm like, oh, do they like? Is it a sound thing? Do they like? You've said, oh, do they have eyes? And I'm like, how else would they tell we were there if they don't have eyes? And maybe it's sound. I don't know. Like maybe they do have eyes. This is just.
Yep, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you throw this block and it clatters against the balcony railing. Everything seems to be made of black glass in here, and there's maybe 4 of these crab box things that immediately go over and toward where the pulley block lies, and they are inspecting it. They're poking it with these little pincers that come out the front. that sort of they extrude out the front, and but at the same time, this silver cord now is sort of flapping loose, and it, without this weight, it kind of zips upward, and there's a clattering sound above you that these crabs then go, so they come toward you to inspect that. So there's like 4 of these crabs coming toward you, and they go to where the rope was, and I'm going to say they don't detect you immediately. They start stacking to make a tower to try to reach the rope that is now maybe, 6 feet above the floor, and they're kind of the bottom one is standing on its hind legs, and the one above it is standing on its hind legs on top of this guy. And they're kind of making this tower to try to reach this thing, and the top crab is trying to reach the rope and still can't quite get to it. And they're kind of straining upward more. What do you do?
I'm gonna stay very still.
My
attempt is I think that I want to see mainly I'm just trying to figure out if they can detect me if I don't make any noise or don't move or whatever.
Yeah, they don't seem to be detecting you at all. Yeah.
So stay super quiet, but make eyes at the other two.
So what do you all do?
Alara is gonna gesture that we should quietly head towards the door.
Okay.
Quietly agree. Although I can fly silently, so maybe.
Are you gonna leave them back here? And
No.
Yeah, you can also just turn invisible and leave the rest of us behind.
Oh, look over there.
Okay, well, because there's some risk to this, I think you should roll to see if you make it quietly across the room. So each of you roll grapple with the environment, and let me know if you're rolling a curse die with that. It depends on what you want.
Sure, why not? Why not?
What could possibly go wrong?
I'm angling for for
Nothing.
that doom to start kicking in.
Yeah, it's great. It's very powerful. It just makes you mark more curses.
I got a 7.
Okay.
I got an 11.
I got a 3.
Whoa,
Awesome.
great, good. I'm so glad I took a curse for this.
You'll make it through, Alara will
Yeah, right.
here and fall face forward.
What's your second curse, Zal?
I think I'm going to. I think I might take that you have angered certain creatures or animals.
That works. Yeah. So and I love that you have the wrong smell. I think that this place is its smell is starting to rub off on you a bit. It's not a good smell. So Zal, you make it down there fine. Solon, you got a 7, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you make it most of the way, or we can say you make it down there too, but there's a crack in the obsidian floor that makes a sound as you're going past it. And maybe the complication is just what explains Alara's miss, that the noise from stepping on the crack is even louder when you step on it, Alara, and these things all come running. And there's like a swarm of like a dozen of them coming after you all. And you have a head start on them, but they move really fast for having such small legs. What do you do? You probably want to say you're probably like Alara, you're probably 40 feet from the doorway. Zal and Solon, you're in the doorway. There is a there are some levers by the doorway, also of unknown purpose. Yeah, so these things are chasing after you, Alara, and you have a clear run to the doorway, but they're catching up. What do you do?
She's just gonna make a run for it and see how far she can get before the first one catches her.
Okay, excellent.
I think I kind of
Yeah.
exchange glances with Zal and like look at the levers and just start like using my beak to flip them up or down to see if they do anything.
Are there still 4 Zals?
Yeah.
Yes, I want to say there's 4 extra Zals that made it down there just fine. Yeah, they're probably starting to fade, I think. They don't need to last much longer. So you start flicking these levers, and there's one that causes all the clockwork in that room to speed up. There's another that creates a wrenching sound somewhere behind and below you, that like a sound of something stopping with great effort, something that had a real head of steam up, coming to a very abrupt stop, and a kind of clinking sound as all these glass gears run into each other. And then another one that you pull causes an obsidian door to just come down from the top and come, close off the doorway before Alara gets through it. So Alara, yeah, your way is suddenly cut off.
Great.
And these things catch up to you, and they are starting to like climb up you, and it's not a kind motion that they're making. We're gonna get back to you in just a second. Zal and Solon, what do you do?
Are we on the same side or the opposite side of the door?
You're on the opposite side, so you can't.
Is our lizard buddy with us still?
I want to say no. I want to say that he's somewhere behind Alara.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Put Kendall back. Like flip the switch that did that the other way again.
Yeah.
See if it does any good.
Let's see what happens. No, nothing happens. You hear some gears trying to turn, and there's sort of a clinking sound that doesn't sound like business as usual. So there's so yeah, the door is still there. Alara, I want to say that these things are like climbing up your hip and up toward your shoulder. What do you do? There's probably like 3 of them on you and another 9 around you.
All right. Can I roll for tactical knowledge to take a moment to look around and see if there's anything I can use or get out of here? Or...
Yes, absolutely.
So that's 2d6. Is that one I can add a curse dice to?
Oh,
or-
always,
All right.
yes.
And so that's a 10.
Okay.
Or no,
Excellent.
I mean a curse dice is a D10, right?
Yeah, it's a D10. Mhm.
So looks like that's a 13.
So it's oh, I see. Yes, a 13. Oh, it takes me a minute to read that. Great. Yeah. So 13 on tactical knowledge. Excuse me. You definitely get to ask 2 of those questions, and I think that I'll delay the cursed success until you actually make use of one of them. But
right.
well, I guess it also depends on what questions you ask. What you ask.
Yes. So I definitely want to know what's the safest way out of here.
Okay. And your other question? Or does it depend on the answer to that one?
What here can I use to my advantage, I guess, is the other one.
Okay.
But that might depend on the first one, but
Right. Your safest way out is maybe to break the doorway. That breaks the door that came down. There's another way out, which is to leap over the railing, but that's definitely not the safest way. To your advantage, you can see that these crabs have abandoned a gear that was taken off of its axle, and there's a couple of them, and they're about a foot across, and you can definitely use those. And the crab that had the rope is still holding on to the rope and is climbing up your calf, and it's trailing this like 40-foot rope behind it. It's partly coiled up and partly like trailing behind it, so you could use that as well.
is the other end of the rope attached to anything?
No.
Okay.
Just one end attached to the crab, and kind of looped over 3 of its legs on one side, and the other is loose.
It doesn't look like the rope that we came down on, does it?
No, it doesn't. It's thicker and rougher, and actually, I could say that it is attached to something. I'll say that it is that it's tied to one of these obsidian axles that is not moving. So you could use that. So
Right.
so what do you do? I want to stay with you for a second.
How big are these crab
crabs?
things?
They're maybe 5 inches thick and maybe 3 feet wide, square. So yeah.
All right.
That's too big. More like 2 feet wide. So
I think I'm wondering whether I could pick up the one with the rope and try to chuck it over the balcony.
I think you could totally do that. Yeah. Certainly try. Okay, yeah. Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Roll to grapple with the environment.
8.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. You throw it off, it sails over, and the other end of the rope is still attached to that axle, and that is only, I want to say, 10 feet away from you. And we'll deal with the complication later. But I want to come back to Solon and Zal. Behind you is this other room with gears, and I want to say that there's like it's it's there's gears on the side, but in the main space of it, there is a what looks like a gigantic figure made of like a 20-foot tall figure made of glass that is lying on its side with a sort of bullet-shaped head, and there is a like an array of obsidian spikes pointed at it at various distances from it, and it seems to be motionless. And then there's a stairway down also. So what do you do? And there's those gears are some of them moving and some of them are stopped. So there's that also.
Solana's very curious about Spiky Boy.
Yeah, do the spikes seem related to the gears?
The spikes are coming out of the ceiling and are on articulated stalks. They're pointing at the figure, and they are they might be related to the gears. There's more levers also on that side of the wall.
And they're not currently moving.
Right. Actually, let me go back to Alara, just because Alara's right in the middle of something, and I think the stuff on your side is going to move more slowly. Okay, Alara, what do? You've thrown the rope over the side, and I think when that crab goes over, I think like 3 of the crabs that were coming toward you immediately run to the railing, and they kind of pause at the railing, and they're like, if they have a facing, they're facing it. And then they're kind of moving and looking at each other like, what just happened? Trying to make sense of what's going on. What do you do?
So I want to get to that rope and use it to get down. I don't know if I have to fight my way through some of these to get there, but.
Yeah, I think that you can definitely do that, and you can take these crabs with you that are on you. But I think that they're going to start trying to hurt you. So you can clash and I think take something from the enemy would count as getting one of these things off of you. But they're starting to stab at you with these glass pincers. Yeah, you're gonna want to both clash and I think use grapple environment to get down the rope.
All right, yeah, so probably clash first.
Okay.
7.
Okay, great. So you pick one from that list.
So I think you said take something from the enemy. It could be getting one of them off me.
Yeah.
So
So you
I'll
can
go
show
with
it
that.
off. Okay, cool. And the I'll say that you're at the rope and you're able to start shimmying down. And there's a you can see now that you're over the railing. There's this enormous chamber, and it is full of these black glass humanoid figures, and they're all still, and they're all either sitting with their backs against the wall or standing motionless. And and there's a bunch of gears in this room too, and I think that's all you can see for now. But yeah,
No glowing purple gems. Or purple light.
Yeah. No, I will say that there are some cabochon type gems, but they're not glowing, and they are in the foreheads of these figures. Yeah, that's all you can see for now.
Alright. Where did our lizard buddy go? Is he still behind me?
Yeah, he is being swarmed by these things too, and he's sort of making a strangled noise, and the crabs are stabbing him. What are you gonna do?
I should probably go help him.
That's nice of you. I want to say that I'm trying to think of again what fits as a monstrous success for that tactical knowledge, but that I don't know. I can't work it out. But if you're going back to help him, that's good of you. Okay, Solon and Zal, what are you up to?
I mean, I think if I see, because like the door is transparent, right? Because it's glass.
Yeah, it's smoky, but
Yeah.
but you can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if I see Alara go downstairs, then I will also go down those stairs to see if there's like a other way to get through.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
I think Alara was going to, and now is going back to help the lizard guy. I think that the crabs are actually, they're swarming him, but they're also getting underneath him, and they are now carrying him. There's like 3 of these things underneath him, and they are carrying him as he's struggling with the ones that are on top of him. They're carrying him to the railing, and very methodically crawling over the side of the railing and down the wall, holding this guy, clutching him to them. And so now he's going down too. And they're stabbing at him, but it's not clear that they're killing him. It might be investigative as much as anything. So now you are clear to go down because now it would be both helping him and getting out of there.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's also like the main way to go. So I'm like, yeah, let's go downstairs. See what's up.
I do want to take a moment and investigate the figure as well.
Okay. You using occult research or
yeah, let's do that. That is a 9.
Okay, excellent. What do you want to ask?
Let's see. One of these. What is the true purpose of this thing?
Okay, yeah. This thing was made to be a guardian, and excuse me, and it is deeply integrated into this city, and it it's meant to guard people and secrets and the place, and it is not able to do that right now. And there are some crabs climbing over it that you can see, and they haven't noticed you at all, but there's like an open hatch in its chest, and there's crabs going inside and coming out of it. And it has a cavity in its forehead where a gem like that would go, and there's no gem in there. And it has eye sockets and like a sculpted, faceted mouth, but there's nothing going on there.
Anything interesting that I can see in the cavity in the?
Yeah, you see that the crabs are they're placing a gem in the clockwork, and they one of them places it very carefully and kind of adjusts it with its little pincers, and then another one taps it in some rhythm and it starts to glow.
Hmm.
And that there are other gems that are not glowing that are in place, and you can see a crab inside there, like carrying a gem over to another one of these sockets.
Ooh. All right.
So, so Zal, you're going downstairs, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you're in this big open space, and you can see these big figures sitting or standing along the wall, and you can see some crabs walking across the floor, walking up these creatures, going inside and out of them, and you can see that some of them have these gems, and they're gems like about the size of a softball or like a melon, and there are various colors. Those are all chromatic hues, and they purple, red, gold, and they are taking gems out of the figures and bringing gems towards them. And you can see that they're coming out of this doorway off to your left, where glows of all kinds of different colors are coming out of there. Alara, what are you doing?
I think I'm heading down the rope since the lizard guy is on the way down. So if I want to help him, I need to be down there.
Okay. I won't make you roll for the rope. You've already done a lot. I want to say that your monstrous success when you threw the rope, the crab smashed against the side of the wall and is now in pieces. There's still enough pieces attached to weigh down your rope, and it'll get you down to the floor. But the scattered gears and gemstones are rolling around, and there's a lit blue larger gemstone rolling around that the other crabs are frantically trying to herd, and you've caused kind of a commotion down there as they're trying to repair what's going on.
Okay.
Solon, what do you do?
I feel I'm nervous about these gems inside this guardian. So you said it was one of these 20-foot tall ones. Would I be able to reach inside or get inside and remove one of the gems that have been placed in there, or all of them?
Yeah, totally. I think that might be worth a roll.
Yeah.
Do that.
Is this would this be grapple with the environment? Yeah. I don't want this thing turning on unexpectedly.
Oh, see, I kind of want to turn it on.
I mean, I want it to be turned on. Solon doesn't want it to be turned on.
Like, what if we did in fact turn it on though?
That's an 8.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, you're able to grab a gem, and at the same time, you're taking it out, alerts the crab who had just very carefully put it there and adjusted it. And I think also that the crab had tapped the gem and just caused it to start glowing before you took it out. So now you have this glowing gem in your hands, and a crab that is trying to come after you, and you're like halfway in this this guardian's chest, and the gem is warm in your hands.
Mhm.
Like I think the complication is that the gem is reacting to the sorcery in you, and you can see something whirling inside and something forming there,
Cool.
and it doesn't feel friendly. Yeah.
I think
Zal,
I'll
what?
take the mood
Yeah, go ahead.
enchanted for that.
Oh, excellent. Yes, that's great. Zal, what do you do? Oh, are you muted?
I am muted. So there's just a bunch of smaller guys, right? They're smaller down here than the ones
No,
upstairs?
the crabs are the same size.
No, that like statues or whatever that are.
They're the same size. They're like 20 feet tall.
Oh, they're all giant. All right.
Yeah.
And I don't know what my buds are doing upstairs, so I'm just hanging out down here.
Well, you can see Alara. You can see Alara has come down the rope, and
it's covered in crabs.
No, I think
Is
she's kicked the crabs free, but
Great.
lizard guy is covered in crabs, and he's being taken very methodically through another doorway, and is making sort of whimpering noises. He's kind of in a horrible place. But Alara is there and free, and so you got a room off to your left that is has all these glows coming out of it, and you've got the room that they're taking the lizard guy into.
Well,
yeah.
After the lizard guy, I guess we were hired for a single job, and I should not let the guy disappear.
He's also Alara's paycheck.
Yeah, I'll just take off after him and
okay, cool.
In an attempt to someday maybe rescue.
Okay. Yeah, I think that you're able to catch up to them because they're not moving totally very fast. You can see that you can catch up to them as they're just inside the doorway, and you can see that there's like workbenches in here with a lot of knives, like again hanging down from stalks, and you can see there's a couple disassembled crabs on the workbenches on these thick tables. So you can catch up to them, and but he's kind of encaged by the crabs that are on top of him and below him. They got their arms wrapped around him. So I want to get back to that in just a second, but Alara, what are you doing?
I think I'm heading after lizard guy because I want to rescue him from those crabs because he seems not great.
Okay, so you can both be there. It looks like they might be intending to disassemble the lizard guy. They're taking him to a blank workbench that has these obsidian blades hanging down over it. So that doesn't look good. But so, well, okay, yeah, I'll let you actually make a roll to try to help him. What move do you want to do? Or it doesn't necessarily have to be a move. Just what do you want to do? You can work it out.
Is he on that bench yet, or?
No, they're carrying him toward it.
I would like to run past them and jump on the bench.
Okay.
I'd like
excellent.
To put myself on said bench.
Okay, yeah. The knives start moving, and they're sort of like rotating around you, like they're calibrating. and getting a sense of your dimensions.
Yeah.
Like they bump into you a little bit and they back off, and then they like you all get within like 5 inches of you.
Mhm.
There's like a dozen of them.
Yeah. I'm gonna just try and like, be a distraction for a while so that
okay.
Alara, you can deal with the freeing the lizard man, and I'll just like move around a bunch and try and not give them a sense of myself. And,
I think
not
after they
let them
calibrate,
touch
then they
me.
start like moving in to try to make some longitudinal incisions on you.
Mhm.
Alara
I will
would-
try and
yeah.
Catherine Zeta-Jones my way away from them. So,
Like entrapment. Is that-
yes,
Mhm.
yes,
Yes,
like
yes,
I
yes.
will dance. Maybe it will be a mildly sexy dance through the lasers that
Yeah.
are those little
Yes.
pokey guys.
Excellent. Okay, awesome. I'll want to come back to that. Alara, what are you doing?
I think so. They're carrying the lizard guy. I think she's just
Yeah.
gonna barrel straight into them and the lizard guy to try to put a
Yeah.
halt to that.
Okay, excellent. Okay, you could get an advantage, or you could do cut the Gordian knot. I think either one of those sounds like what you're doing.
Yeah. I guess advantage.
Okay. Yeah, so you barrel into them, you just you scatter them, and they I think the advantage you have is that you've now disoriented them. There's still the 3 underneath them, but the ones that were on top of them have scattered, like 3 on top of them. And now you have more of an opening to the guy too. So they've still got some legs clamping onto him, but he's clearer now. I want to come back to that, but first, Solon, what are you doing?
I think I would like to drop that crystal on a hard surface from as high a height as possible. Flap up to the roof and just chuck it down.
Okay. Okay, let's see. I think that I think it breaks. And this red energy flows out of it and swirls around the room and swirls up to you and kind of swirls around you like you're this fulcrum for it. And it is there's something in you that is like it sets your heart racing. You can feel that it is both filling you with energy and getting stronger itself, like keying off of your energy. And so you're in the middle of this red vortex. What do you do?
I think I want to see if I can communicate with it at all. I'm not sure what that would
Oh, interesting.
be. Yeah. And I'd probably like think and say out loud, just like, who are you and what are we doing here?
I think that a hawk starts forming out of the red energy, and is still whirling around you and says, I've been trapped here, but you've freed me, but I don't think I can go. You've freed me from one prison and I'm in another, and my energy is contained here, and the makers of this place are they've put it to work here.
What can I do to help?
This, he says, you've already started. Keep doing what you're doing. Maybe it will help. I don't know.
Are all the other crystals like you?
There are many like me, but I don't know what they're all like.
They're beings trapped in these things, though.
Many
I
of
assume
them
against
are.
their will.
Well, I was a spirit of a hawk, and I was pulled out of the hawk and put into this.
Mhm.
I if I'm not here, I will dissipate and become part of the great world of the spirits. I'll go back to the hidden world.
Is that something that is distressing to you, or?
It's better than
Not.
being here. It's the hawk that I was a part of is long dead. So I don't have a purpose outside of this place. But
Can you affect things? Can you physically do things here, or are you just energy that can't interact?
I'm still bound by, even outside the gym, I'm bound by the spells that put me here. So I can't affect things.
Okay. Well, we will do everything that we can to, I guess, free you and everyone else, which may involve us not getting paid, but
I think he says also, be careful. You energized me, and your presence here is awakening things that have been asleep for a long time. So be careful.
Neat.
Okay. Okay, I want to go back to Zal and Alara. So Alara, you had just scattered these things. What do you do next?
I think I want to try to kick out a couple of the ones that are under him. Maybe
Okay.
clash head on.
Sure.
And-
Yeah. Yeah. Go for it.
Eat.
Okay. Pick one of those things.
Yeah. So, like, if using my advantage that I got to inflict a wound
Mhm.
would
Yeah.
help, I'll go with
Yeah,
that.
sure. Yeah. So yeah, you can definitely you can kick one of them out and and partially free him. You free his lower half and his tail starts thrashing around. And the two that are left are kind of trying to compensate for the weight. And I think that gives you a further advantage where like they're off balance now. Okay, Zal, these things, roll something to try to avoid being cut by these knives.
I'm guessing it's grapple with the environment.
That's
but-
as good as anyone, yeah. And then you're doing your sexy dance.
Yeah, I'm doing my sexy dance.
What'd you get?
I got an 8.
Okay, all right. I love a mixed success.
It's a middlingly sexy dance. It's only a little bit, a little sexy.
You avoid being flensed, cut wide open by these things, but I think they
Great.
still give you one wound. And you're also able to well, I don't know if it was your intention, but to knock a couple of them off.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That sounds great.
Okay. Alara, you've got what's funny, of course, is that you could jump down at any time. Like you can also do that.
No,
I'm but you're trying to keep them from taking them up. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm keeping them occupied. I'm into it now. Now it feels like there's a vibe, like I'm in the zone. We're having a little dance.
Okay, Alara, what do you do?
I'm gonna try to take out the other one or one more of the ones
Okay.
under.
All right, go for it. Oh, they're supposed to react too. I forgot about that.
Oh.
But go ahead. You do your thing.
Well, I rolled a 5, so
Excellent.
time for them to do
Perfect.
something interesting.
Okay. Yeah. I think that that they I think that they drop him and they come for you, and they are they so they drop him, they come for you, and one of them makes a like they're backing you into another one of these workbenches, and the knives on stalks are starting to move around. So they give you a they give you a wound from slashing at you with their pincers, and then one of these things starts coming toward you to as if to attack you again. So what do you do?
I'm gonna try to cut at it with my sword.
Okay. So this isn't supposed to be blow by blow. So we'll just say that you're on the back foot for now, that you are cutting at them with your sword, but that they are they're hemming you in, and so that now you've lost the advantage, and Zal, you can see that Alara is being backed up by I think there's now 4 of them on her, and backed into one of these workbenches, and this knife is behind Alara where she can't see it, but that it's taken the measure of her, and it's coming in to make a cruel slash.
Well, I guess I have to leave my nice little training ritual that's happening over here. Yeah, I'll like jump down and run over as fast as I can, like trying to keep with my weaving and dodging.
Okay.
And just get to the knife. Like it's the only focus is the knife. It's like kind of ignoring the crabs, just like this needs, I will attempt to stop it. Maybe break it.
Okay, this sounds like lunge.
It does sound a little lungy. A 7.
Okay. So you can pick one of those.
I mean, destroy something of the enemy sounds great.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. So so yeah, you're able to smash the knife that's behind Alara's head, and I think you're able to just completely demolish the knives that are on that workbench. And Alara, you can see that the crabs are now alerted to Zal's presence and are backing away from you, and trying to figure out how to deal with both of you at the same time, which is much harder for them. And that they've left you with an opening. So now you two are together, and you know, and the lizard man is free.
Does he have a name?
Oh yeah. Yes, he has a name. 1 second. I think I think his name is just Lim.
Okay.
And he's still on the floor, like he really wishes this bad dream would end. So now you are, you know, the crabs are still upset, but but you all have a bit of an opening. So what are you going to do?
Alara's gonna look at Zal and say, do we have a plan other than smash all of these? There's a whole bunch of them.
I mean, I think the plan is GTFO, but we should probably find Solon.
Aren't we trying to find something for Lim?
Isn't Lim has now seen all the like the gems in the statues, right? Like they're like,
Yeah.
yeah. I feel like
yeah.
I want to be like, is that what you meant? That sounds like what you described.
It's like I think so. I don't know which one is ours, but they certainly look a lot like the gem that was, our priestess described to us.
You should just grab one.
Are you gonna recognize it if you're there
Well,
holding it?
It's
Does it
supposed to be
matter?
lit
Are they
up.
different?
It's supposed to be lit up. There's, and I mean, I don't know why I expected it. I didn't expect it to be in the forehead of a giant person thing.
And one of the crabs probably put it there.
Yeah, I guess so. And if you all go back out of this workroom into the main room, you can see that that one of the gems in a standing statue, so about 20 feet above you, one of the gems has lit up. It's a cabochon like he was describing, but it's lit up orange, and his was purple. And you can see the others are dark, whether they're sitting or standing. The gems in their foreheads are dark. Solon, what are you up to?
I
You
think
can
it's
see
time to
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, find my way down there to see what my friends are up to.
Okay, the whirling red vortex
Mhm.
doesn't dissipate, but it gets pulled away from you, and you can see that it's being pulled downward into the cavity of that statue, the
Okay.
guardian.
I'll be back for you, buddy. I'll be back for you.
Okay, so you're going down to the main room to
Yeah, just see what the situation is down there.
Right. So you all see Solon come in, and he's still got sort of a red glow trailing behind him. There's a diffuse glow. And Solon, you can see also there's this orange cabochon in the forehead of one of them that's lit up. And you can see that its eyes are starting to flicker with light. It's sort of an orange light. And then as you swoop through the room, you can see that other cabochons in these foreheads are starting to light up, and they're all different colors. One of them, like the fifth one, is purple. And Lim looks, this is there. That's got to be ours.
Let's grab it.
So it is in a robot that is sitting, a statue that is sitting by the wall, and you can see that there are crabs coming through his chest cavity, and there are other hatches open around his body, and the eyes start flickering with a purple glow, and it starts to move.
I would like to try and snatch it out of its forehead with my talons.
Okay, yeah, that I'm gonna say that you try to snatch it, and it is too smooth and too firmly in there for you to get.
Cool.
So then it is you think it could be gotten out, but it's going to take more than a flyby.
Yeah.
So it is placing these large black glass hands, fingers flayed, sort of on the floor, and it is sort of shifting itself up. And you can see crabs are like frantically moving all around it. And, they've sort of sped up, and they kind of come streaming out of its chest. So they didn't seem to be expecting to see it. It sort of lumbers to a standing position, and is turning its head around. Zal or Lara or any of you, what do you do?
I kind of want to try and like leap and bound around things in the room that get me on its head, neck, I don't know, upper body,
Okay,
somewhere up
okay.
there.
Excellent.
Face.
Yeah. Okay, I think let's grapple with the environment. So roll with that.
Mhm. Do I want to be cursed? Okay, no more curses. Oh, the worst. What could possibly? Does somebody want to throw me
wow.
at it and help?
Yes, I do. Yes, I
Somebody
do.
want to hurl me into the air?
Yeah, I'll do some of that action there.
You just see me like try and take a running leap, and just my feet don't get out. Just like I'm 2 feet from where I started.
Yeah, I can get you a 3.
Well, we continue to suck at this. Good.
Okay. Alara, do you want to try to help? I
Sure, she'll try to.
I don't
It's
know.
also fine if I
Yeah,
You don't have to.
fall on my
Yeah.
face.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
also
willing to
fine.
give it a try.
So,
There we go.
Hey, that's a 6. That means I
Okay.
get an 8.
an 8. Okay, excellent. So I think that you were yeah, you were trying to run and trying to bounce off of Solon. And I think Alara, you saw what he was trying to do and we were able to actually hurl Zal, at the robot. Like Zal was a rather animated volleyball coming your way. You're able to assist up there. And then yeah, so you get an 8, so you are able to grab onto it, but it's unsteady. It's not a secure purchase. And it's I want to say like you're on its arm and the arm is moving around, and you're kind of sliding down the glass sides of it. So mark a mood.
Go with erratic.
Erratic sounds good. So then the okay, so Alara, what do you do?
This thing stood up, right?
Yeah, it's stood up now. And
She's
others are
gonna-
starting to move too. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And it has like humanoid legs with like joints or something. She's gonna try to slide between its legs and like cut at its knees or anything to try to get it to fall over.
Okay.
So we can reach the gem that's all the way up there.
Excellent. Okay, I think that's a great idea. This sounds like Clash Head On.
Yep.
Okay.
3.
Awesome. Okay, great. Okay, this is going to be see, Real from the Mighty Blow doesn't work. I need to like change it because like you need to roll with at least 2 dice basically. So you don't have a lot of wounds marked. You have 1 wound and 1 mood, and maybe that's how it has to go, but the minimum has to be 2. So roll 2 dice and see what you get.
8.
Okay, so pick one from give the enemy an opportunity, put yourself or an ally in a compromised position, or mark 2 moods or 2 wounds.
I'll go with give the enemy an opportunity.
Okay. I think that the giant statue steps on you. I think that you slide underneath it. You're trying to cut its legs, and your blade clatters off of the obsidian, and it notices you, and it starts to step on you. And I think that's going to be at least one wound. Let's say one wound for now.
Okay.
And then Zal, you're sliding down off of it. Solon, what do you do?
I think it might be magic time.
Great.
I'm gonna take a doom die, I think. So I mark the curse track and pick one of those things.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens when I roll first.
Yeah, you can pick it later.
So let's see, 2 dice and 1 die there. 2, 2, and 5.
7.
Let's see, what does that get me?
Oh, right. It's spell, so it's not.
Yeah.
7. It's 2, 2, and 5. Right. Yeah.
Let's see. So I can do I could do the obscurance again. I could do metamorphosis again.
You could.
Oh. So what is the disposition of the giants now? Or the statues?
There are, including this one, there are 5 that are flickering to life, and some the rest are still kind of tottering. There's 3 that were sitting, another one that was standing, and it's just starting to take a step. And the 3 that were sitting are starting to push themselves upright, stand up. And there are others with glowing cabochons, but they're not moving. They seem to be like shuddering or something, like they're not fully functional. So.
They're probably not considered creatures, are they?
No.
Yeah. I think I'm going to turn myself invisible then and see if I can start yanking crystals out.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. All right. Yes, you are an invisible owl.
Silent invisible owl.
Silent invisible owl. All right. Okay. Excellent. Yeah. This lets you you can swoop around undetected. You could get into the cavity if you want, or you could try to latch yourself to its head. But your friends are in trouble. Zal has got an unsteady purchase on this arm, and Alara's being stepped on.
I think the primary objective would be to start pulling gems out of the one that's causing the most damage here.
Oh, to try to immobilize it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. You start yanking gems out. Zal, what are you doing? So you are on the arm. The arm's kind of swinging.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the goal is to get out, and I don't. Now that you're invisible, I don't know that I would know that you're helping in the same, or that like
I think you can see like things being ejected from the chest, even if you don't know why.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think if I'm gonna try and like rip its eyeballs out, like they're just like go for the eyes. I'm gonna do the only thing. I'm like, I don't know how this works. I don't understand how any of this nonsense works, but it has eyes that are open, and so there's usually a weak point in creatures.
It has these eye cavities with light coming out of them, and you're able to. It's got these rims that are very thin, and you're able to start cracking that. So you're making these big shards in its cheeks, but it doesn't actually have eyeballs.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're pulling things out of it, but it's still moving. And you're in this sort of black glass hell of moving gears, and I think there's still a crab in there skittering around. and it's very tight in there. You know, what you're doing is probably going to work, but not immediately. Alara, what are you doing?
I'm gonna try to roll away from it and do my tactical knowledge, try to assess the situation and see if I can find out a better move that might not lead to me getting stepped on.
Okay, all right.
Or I could just roll a 3 again and
Wow, what is with this? I mean, they're electronic dice. It shouldn't do this. Okay. Well, you can ask a question.
oh yeah, I can
wouldn't
ask
trust
a
the
question.
answer.
Might be, yeah. I think I want to know, how can I attack most effectively from here?
Oh yeah. Well, you could try impaling its foot on your blade. You could try finding something to throw at it. Those are options. Yeah.
All right.
But you're free from under its foot at least, and so you can act.
That's good for a moment.
Yeah. Okay, Solon, back to you. You're pulling things out and throwing them out.
Yeah.
I think that that causes a shuddering inside the chest, and one of the bigger gears comes to an abrupt stop, and these other gears around it crack, and the whole chest, the whole figure starts shuddering and jerking uncontrollably.
Nice.
And you can see that, well, you can't see, but Zal and Alara, you can see that two of the other figures are coming to support it. And its obsidian mouth is opening, and a really quite horrible wail is coming out from it. And you can, Solon, you can hear the wail in the chest as if it's coming from all around you.
Love it.
It's blood curdling. Yeah. So now there's two other figures holding it up, and it's sort of jerking horribly. So Solon, what do? You still working?
It seems like I've done a good job of throwing a wrench into this one. Is the one with the purple?
That's the one you're in.
That's why I'm in. Great.
Yeah.
I think then before it falls over, before they help, I want to get out there and like perch on its face and do my best to peck that out.
So Zal, you can see that the gem in his forehead is shifting slightly for some reason. You can't see why, but it does look a little loose now. Do you want to try to get it, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, I mean, if I think it's so loud, I'm not just gonna like throw my hands in there. But if I don't think it's so loud, then I would. So
you've got those bone daggers. You could.
Yeah, I feel like the goal is to get it out. So if it seems like, oh, maybe it's shifting around, and maybe I can like shove something in there to kind of.
I imagine if you get up there, like I'm like a 9 foot tall owl. I think you feel me, and once you get up there, it's like, oh yeah. Come on this way, get in here.
And I think that the cracks you've made around its eye sockets are going up toward the gem and making it more, giving it more room to be maneuvered. So I don't know what move that would be, but I guess it doesn't matter because you're rolling with the same dice anyway. So go ahead and roll, and we'll see how you do. And
I got a 4. I probably should have curse rolled that, but that's fine.
Sloan, this is a good opportunity for you to help since you are both working toward the same goal.
Yeah, I'll definitely hearten
Yeah.
that one. There's a 5 for you.
Thank you. So an 8.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to get it out, but not to hold on to it. So it clatters free. It goes on this big arc, falls on the ground, does not break, and rolls over into a mess of gears, still glowing. The robot comes to a complete stop. Laura, you can see that the gem has just popped out of its forehead, and that Zal is climbing over it like, I don't know, a monkey. And this thing is clattered over, and it's enmeshed in these gears, and it looks like the gears are gonna like hit it. What do you do?
I'm gonna go grab the gem before something worse befalls it.
Okay, roll grapple with the environment. Try to get this rugby ball.
5. Should have done a curse dice.
You could do a curse dice after the fact. Do that.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right.
Oh, excellent.
So 13 then.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah. You are able to snatch it up, and the thing is, you're able to snatch it up, and in doing so, you break the gears that were going to hit it, and they shatter. They are just glass, really, and they you can see that the gears that were intersecting with them hit one of these snags and start to break themselves. And you can see it, the fragments are falling through the floor to whatever machinery is below, and you hear some sounds like it's interfering with that. But you have this gem, and it's glowing bright purple, and Lim looks at you with hope in his eyes.
Great.
And it's 10 o'clock, and we've been going for a while. Do you guys want to take like a 10-minute break?
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. See you in 10 minutes.
Love that game. Have you?
It's so good. It's so good.
Wow. I have to find that. This is a Kickstarter.
Yeah, there's a quick start PDF on the Magpie site that you can run it off of
Okay.
easily. Yeah,
Okay. All right. Well, let me know how it goes with reading it.
yeah.
That's. I know a lot of people have been waiting for Passion for a long time.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Alara got the gem. That Solon and Zal wrenched free, and now Solon, you are an invisible 9-foot owl on top of this thing's head, and Zal, you are clinging to its face, about 18 feet off the ground. What? And Lim is looking at Alara holding this thing with renewed hope in his eyes. What do you all do next?
I would say it's time to get out of here.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like leaving sounds great.
Would it make
Personally.
sense to give the gem to Lim and cover his escape or their escape?
I guess they were
Yeah.
extremely bad
Yeah.
at moving last time. So
Sure. Lim comes over to Alara and just has such beseeching in his eyes. It's just it's like he can't even bear to ask, but he sort of reaches his hands forward just a little bit. It's just,
Yeah.
may I?
Sure. Here you go.
And he takes it and he cradles it like a baby, and he you know, he's like, he's his eyes are full of wonder. He's like, it's warm, it's amazing. And then he starts to beat it back to the stairs. And the other statues are coming toward you now that this one has stopped and gone dark. So we got these 4 statues coming toward you all. Well, I guess Zal and Solon, you may still be up top on the one that's come to an end, to a halt. But there is, and Solon, you're invisible, but there's one statue coming after you, Alara, and there's a statue coming toward you, Zal, reaching a hand up to the other one's face to try to pluck you off. Start with Zal. What do you do? Yeah,
I would like that not to happen. I would like to go for a run somehow.
Hop on.
Yeah, great. I'm gonna awkwardly feel around for an invisible owl.
His fingers are all in your feathers. It's weird.
Yeah, and attempts to cling, not really without really having the full picture of it.
Yeah. Okay. I think you both should roll. I think Zal for your perch and Solon for your ability to get out of there.
Mhm.
So let's do Zal first.
This feels like a reasonable time to take another curse. Listen, I'm going for
Yeah. Excellent.
the doom. I'll pick which one it is in a moment. 12.
Nice.
12. Excellent. Okay. Yeah, you are latched on there. No problem. Solon, what's your roll?
Yeah, I think I'm also gonna take a curse and see how that goes.
Okay.
Another 12 with no help from the you curse die.
Oh no.
All right, but you're able to swoop off this thing's head and through the fingers of the other statue and to the staircase. And Alara, what are you doing?
I think just running after Lim.
Okay. The one of the statues goes to block the entrance to the stairwell. I want to say that Solon and Zal are already into the stairwell, but this massive hand comes to try to block you off from the stairwell, Alara. Roll. Well, I was going to say grapple with the environment, but if you have another move you want to do, feel free.
I don't think there's another good one because I don't know that this is a tricky, delicate situation. Feels like the opposite of that.
Yeah, right. I mean, you could do tactical knowledge, but I think grappling environment is fine. Just try to get past it.
All right, so I have 1 glory die because I'm wounded, and so I have to
right. Yeah, you need
add
the
a curse. Wait, why is it +1? What is it doing? That's a 6. I don't know why it did a +1.
I don't know either. Let's see. So 6 is not going to be good enough, but I keep forgetting to say when you roll a miss, you should mark experience.
Yeah, I've done that, so I'm up to 4.
Oh, great. So then this thing gets in your way and starts to close around you, and it's not causing you a wound yet, but I think you should mark a mood.
All right. I'm gonna go with desperate.
Okay, sounds good.
Yep.
So Solon and Zal, you can see the back of his hand that's sort of half blocking off the doorway to the stairwell that you're in. You can see that Alara's on the other side of that hand. What are you gonna do? Yeah.
Can we smash it with something? It's glass, right?
Maybe.
Do you have a spell, Solon, or?
I mean, Eldritch Blast might do it. That requires 2. Yeah, let's try and do something here. Throw another curse on there for good measure and see how that goes. Why not? That is not 2 consecutive values, so that's not going to happen there. 1, 6, and 10. I can use Mighty Hand then, so I can do the 6 and 10, and get our Mighty Hand. And Alara, would you prefer to be picked up and moved over the hand, or do you think it'd be more fun to arm wrestle the hand out of the way?
Is Lim on the other side still?
No, Lim's up the stairs past you.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Just arm wrestle it out of the way. That sounds fun.
Yeah, so I think just the hand comes up and gets pinned up against the wall.
Excellent. Okay, your way is clear, Alara. You all are able to run up, and I'm going to say that like bits of glass are falling off from the cornices up under the walls, and the place is shaking and shuddering, and you're able to run back into the main chamber that you were in with your ropes hanging down from the lizard city above, and Lim is already hauling himself up the ropes with an admirable sense of self-preservation. And you can see cracks are coming in the floor of this chamber. So I imagine Solon, you and Zal are just going to fly up there. Yep. Once again, leaving Alara to roll to grapple the environment.
Should have turned into an owl.
You make it sound so easy. Okay,
just
one last
teach
roll.
Me sorcery later.
You can take sorcery, just one spell at a time, which makes it
that's
hard.
less useful.
Yeah.
All right, so I need to do another curse dice because I'm still wounded.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Why is
Unless
it adding
oh, I don't know.
one? Because I'm typing 1d6 plus 1d10. No, no.
Oh,
Hmm. Mhm.
Wow.
Yikes.
Wow.
uh,
What a
wow,
roll.
that's terrible.
3.
I mean, I feel like I could help. Like if we flew up there, then we could just try and like lift the rope from the other side, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see how well that goes.
I guess I gotta roll.
Roll 2 hard dice. So
Nope. Well,
a 4.
fudge.
I'll get you a 6.
Yeah, it
Um,
gets me a
I'm-
6.
I guess you're stuck down. I guess you're
no, I'm
stuck
gonna
down
say
now.
I'm gonna say you get up, but but that you get hurt pretty bad on the way up. So that let's see. I take one more wound and a mood, and you'll get up there. But I think you tore something trying to climb up with your existing wounds. Maybe there's like glass shards in your, stuck in you, and like climbing is just aggravating them. So sort of big things like but you're able to get up there, and you all are back in the lizard city with its white sandstone, and there's a horrible screeching sound of clashing gears down below, but and you can see it's kind of making the lizard city shake with the bits of dust coming down. But on the positive side, off in the corner of the room is Lim holding this gem out to the big lizard, and the priestess on his back was reaching her hands forward to hold it, and they all just sort of have their eyes closed in reverence. And they look at you with extreme gratitude. How
I would like to say something, but I'm invisible, so it might be unnerving for them.
How to make it better?
Yeah. I want to let them know that there's probably a being trapped inside of that against its own will, whether it's their god or whatever. And they should think about the implications of that.
Do you say that?
Yeah.
Well, they're quite startled when you start talking.
In the weirdest, spookiest voice I can muster.
But they say, the priestess says, I don't know anything about that. This stone has been in our community for generations. It has bestowed life and blessings on us. I don't know how we could free whatever that thing is, if it really is in there, without destroying it. And we're not about to do that. So thank you for getting it for us. We are deeply in your debt. And we plan to renew our community. We'll see that you get back to your city safely, but we're going to take this back to our community after that, and begin again.
Typical lizard people.
Typical what?
Typical lizard people.
They got their ways, they're into their giant gemstones.
Do we know where their community is?
No, we haven't established that. It's not here. It's not down in this pit. Yeah, this is sort of an ancestral place. So the so they've got the gem. Y'all can leave this place and set back off home to Urud. I want to say, Alara, that before you all go, that you're able to find an encampment in this city that is clearly the work of the raiders, and that there is a strewn about with their trash. There are a couple rather shoddy weapons and a like a red locket, not a locket, like a red amulet, but this big, yeah, it was, well, I think it's one we've described before. It's red and gold with a scorpion symbol in the middle of it, and that's, you know, the sign of the raiders. So they were definitely here, and this is definitely sort of belongs to them.
Well,
And
I'll take that in case it proves useful later.
okay, cool. I think that's a good place to wrap it up. That was great. Thank you all for playing that. I love your characters. I think they're awesome. I want to open it up to a bit of feedback, if you have any. And I think this sets us up well for something to come next. You can be back in Urwood and tracking the raiders, or worrying about what the lizards are going to do with the gemstone, and what else? Yeah, things like that. But I'm curious how that worked for you. I mean, you can lay into me. It's okay. I'll say I thought that we ran up against some of the limits of having just one stat. Like there weren't a lot of meaningful, like there weren't as many meaningful choices as I would have wanted. Where it's like, well, what move do you do? Well, does it matter? You know, like so it's weird, right? Because it's actually rather hard to improve on Powered by the Apocalypse. It's really good, and it gives you choices like, do you want to do this move or that move? Well, my stat's better than that move, but this is more applicable, stuff like that, you know. So so I'm gonna, I don't know exactly what to do about that, but I'm gonna think about that. I think that the Hearten move worked pretty well, and offered opportunities for characters to interact. Yeah, I don't know. How did the basic system with the rolling glory dice work? Obviously, there were a lot of curses when you really wanted to do something.
Yeah, I really like the curses. The drop down for the curses are super fun.
Okay, cool.
I like want to take more just to get more. I think so. I think you're right. The like just rolling 2 dice for everything feels like you said, especially since it feels like we're and maybe it was just this session, not always, but it felt like it was mainly like physical obstacles we were coming up because we were dodging the giant and opening the door and doing this thing. I think if the intention is to focus more on, you know, sort of typical swords and sorcery, here's some things we gotta fight or escape from or get around or break. I think that's worth looking into, varying up the basic moves. And I think, I don't know if that requires changing the glory dice thing, because that's gonna, or the heart dice, because as players progress, those numbers are gonna change.
Right. Yeah, you're gonna lose heart dice. Yeah.
Giving folks different ways to interact with the world that way. And then and I don't even know again if this requires you doing that. I think an important part of the like the core principles is definitely like engage with the fiction first and then see if that triggers a move. So instead of saying oh,
doesn't
I'm
always have to
gonna,
be a move, right?
yeah, instead of saying, oh, I want to engage this move, you either have to like say what you're doing in the world and that kicks off the move, or the GM has to say like, cool, what are you doing to make that happen?
Yeah,
And
right,
that
right.
definitely like gives more like fictional grist to make it feel more varied, even if mechanically it is not. It gives it a different feel for sure.
That if we start with just the conversation,
Yeah,
and then see if it triggers a move, and if it doesn't, you just do
exactly.
the thing. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably better. Yeah.
Another fun thing that might be fun, which is totally stolen, would be the for failures before Hearten happens, or before a doom die is added. Go Brindlewood hard and say like, cool, you fall to your death. Do you want to take a doom die, or does someone want to help?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then you get to describe how you help to prevent that bad thing.
Oh, that's good. Describe the thing that then doesn't happen, because you go to extremes to keep it from happening.
Yeah, and again, that gives people like a hook to be like saving someone from being crushed by a robot, to being flung across the room by a robot, to falling to its magical gaze or whatever. Like the help are going to be different in every case there, and so that's just another fun piece of tech stolen from other
Brindlewood
games.
Bay. Yeah. So good. Yeah.
I don't know if this would make it like not a PBTA game and become a Forged in the Dark game, but I feel like who cares? Who cares about
I'm
this?
interested.
Well, because I feel like the interesting mechanical things that are happening are all of the different ways in which you can affect your dice pool. So just make it a dice pool. Like it doesn't, you don't have to, but there is part of me that's like, what if it was just a dice pool, right? Because you have help, you have curses, you have glory dice, and I think it gets kind of bogged in the mechanical when it's like, okay, I roll my glory dice and then I'm going to add a heart dice because it failed, or I'm going to add a curse dice because it failed, right? Like it's always this like, I want to change what happened, and I kind of like make the risk before especially because it is like high risk. Like the sword and sorcery thing is like, everything is risky, everything is big, everything's dramatic, everything has like huge consequences. And so it is like, is this something I care about? Because I didn't know until you were partway through that you could just add a curse dice afterwards. I was like, no, you have to decide before. Like,
I kind of did that on the fly because I wanted to see the move succeed. But we could say that no, you have to decide beforehand, and that calculus becomes different when you have 3 glory dice. But I do like what you're saying of maybe having a pool of glory dice that you can put to work or not, and then that becomes more of a decision.
And like having the glory dice and the curse dice, and because I also think that like the part that hasn't really come up yet is like the debts and enmity, right? Like it's like that hasn't really come into play, and I wonder if there's a way to pull that in if you have 3 or 4 different ways to build your dice pool. And what that means is like, are the gods involved? Were you like, what did something happen? If you use a curse dice, does the outcome mean that something happened, like you got what you want, but it wasn't what you wanted, or it wasn't how you wanted it, or whatever, right? And if you
comes with strings attached.
And if you use like to call on your deities or call on the world or whatever, then it has some other implication. Like if you pull, and it doesn't need to be this simple, but it's like, if I pull on the wilds, then there's some cost to the wilds, right? Like then there has to be like it's the same if I'm offering to help, then that has to put me at risk in some way. Like it can't just be like, oh, well, you failed your roll, so I'm going to fix it, right? There has to be like something, I think that, so it's like, whatever dice you're pulling those from, feel like they should also implicate the consequences.
And
it doesn't have to be dice pool. I just think that like, the curses, like, I am a person who's playing this game because I want to engage all the mechanics of it, right? I don't, and so it isn't, and I also don't need to succeed. I don't think that success needs to be the goal all the time, right? So
totally, I
think it's like that's the, and
you can play to lose,
like that's I'm fine with losing, right? Like as long as it's fun, that's as long as it's a good story. If my character dies 10 minutes in, here for it, right? Like those are the moments that I like have remembered of games where something happens really dramatic and big in that way. And I think that's one of the big things of the genre is like things are involved, right? Like there are all these elements at play.
Yeah, that's interesting, where if you pull on a curse, if you invoke a curse, maybe that comes from the gods or the wilds or something. That, I mean, right now, you know, it makes it more straightforward to invoke a curse if it's just coming from inside you. But maybe part of the strings attached is that it also changes your debts or your position in the world, the notice that they take of you. Yeah, and I'll think about like maybe there is like a pool of glory dice that you're pulling from, so it's still just to give more texture, something to give more texture to that choice.
Yeah,
To make it more of a choice. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. Having only 2 harm require you to have to use curse dice is brutal, and maybe that's fine, but
it's
feel
brutal.
yeah. And like obviously that's only true at the beginning until you get more glory dice, but I feel like then
I
it's
feel like it's
only
kind
2
of,
out of 6 and maybe it's excessive. I'm not sure.
does it feel less brutal if this is like, if instead of it removing a glory die, it just adds a curse die? Like if you just follow me down, if you follow me down the dice pool mentality, right? Where it's like once you're at 2 wounds, you have to add a curse die. So like you're still taking on the curse, but you have your glory die, so your chances are more towards success, but you're also like deteriorating narratively faster, right? Like
I mean, you're the net effect might be the same, because if you are down glory dice, you have to use curse dice.
yes, but you'd
a
be rolling
chance of a better
2d6 and a
roll.
d10. Yeah, you'd still be getting a better roll, so it would be less, because like failing when you take on a curse die, I imagine doesn't feel super great when you're like, oh, this is
no, that's not good. Which is why I'm thinking about having you can always roll a curse die after the fact, because it does suck to roll a miss with a curse die.
I feel like the other thing with taking away 1 glory die at 2 wound and then 2 at 3 wound is like, if you have 4 wound and only 2 glory die, that's not really worse than 3 wound.
Yeah. That maybe step it at every other die, something like that.
Or if you do something with adding cursed dice instead of taking away.
Like it's 3 and 5, and then
I actually don't mind brutal necessarily, but I don't want people to feel cheated, you know. So yeah, I'll think about that. It certainly escalated faster than I expected.
And I think one of the responses to that might just be like, make sure you're making failure or a miss interesting, so that
move the story forward.
People don't care if they miss, because something cool happens anyway, even though it's bad. And I think mostly interesting stuff did happen, but yeah, you want it to be something that people actually kind of look forward to in a way, like, and that's not really happening. So that's all interesting. You know, in making it just
Apocalypse
one,
is hard.
It is. You know, I made it just 1 stat because I read Apocalypse Keys, and it's amazing. And they've got 1 stat, but you are always changing how much that stat is, or how much from that stat you're spending. And so there's that extra dynamic going on from Liberté that is really cool. And I'm reminded, I don't know who said it, but you know, make everything as simple as possible, but not any simpler. And I feel like that's what I'm running up against a bit with this. With like 1 stat, it's maybe too simple. But if it's like something you can spend from, I don't know, I'll think about that.
I think I think for me, it's like you don't have one stat though, right? You have your glory dice and then you have the optional curse dice. So you already have 2 stats. You have glory and
Yeah.
curse,
Yeah.
right? Like, and
Yeah.
that, and because I think the part for me that's not fully coming up yet is that tension between being glorious and being cursed, right? Because
Yeah.
the being powerful is always present, and that's the point, right? These characters are never weak, they ever are accomplishing their goals, they're never not like doing stuff. And so I don't know that failure has a huge part to play in it other than like adding a complication, right? Like it's not ever really about, these stories aren't really about anybody failing, it's just about like what it cost, or like who are you indebted to, right?
Yeah.
And so if it's constantly about that like good and evil fight, which is a little bit how that feels, you know, and it then those being your kind of 2 stats, but them meaning different things. I kind of even wonder, like, this might make it more complicated, but like the actual moves themselves could change, as opposed to having like, you know, your doom moves, you can have Attune to the Wilds glorious or Attune to the Wilds cursed, and the outcomes can be different, right? And it's like which, and having that kind of, because I feel like then, because the outcomes, because what I really like about Apocalypse games is usually the questions that get asked as a mechanic, right? That's the most interesting part of Apocalypse games. It's not, I don't even think it's complicated successes, which I realize is like the thing that they gave us, right? Was this idea of complicated success. But I think the actually most interesting thing in play is, because people make complicated successes on failures or complicated successes on successes in other systems all the time. But like the interesting thing as a player is figuring out what the answers to those questions are, or getting to like ask questions as your reward and have them answered is always like the most fun part of Apocalypse games for me.
Interesting.
And so like having the questions you can ask change if you're if you're cursed, right? Having the rewards you get changed if you're rolling with cursed dice.
Like asking like, how can I diffuse this situation versus who do I have to kill to get out of this? There's like lots of fun stuff you can do with that. That's awesome.
I wonder if it's as simple as providing what happens on a 13 plus with each of these moves, and changing what that is, because that is a cursed success. But
like you're only getting there usually if there's cursed dice.
You have to have the cursed dice to get there. But I'll think about that also, the idea that there might be a light side to these moves and a dark side to these moves. That's a really interesting idea.
Yeah, that's great.
Rips out all the guts, redoes everything.
It's just rearranging the guts, right? Like it's not even like they're all there. It's just
I feel like I'm like Solon in one of these robots, like tossing out gems. Okay, that's all really interesting. Thanks. Thanks. This is great stuff. I'm gonna go back and play this full video and see. There was something else I wanted to say, but I can't remember what it was. I think the advantages thing might be too harsh, actually. Like that maybe you should be able to inflict 1 wound without having an advantage, and use advantages. You know what I mean? Like to be able to.
I feel like it competes with getting fictional positioning via other things that aren't necessarily moves.
And that maybe it ought to be made explicit that you could do something that just gives you an advantage. It doesn't have to be part of a move.
And if you decide to keep the advantages, maybe you can do the same thing you're doing with curses, like give each one, like let you pick, like, oh, I have an advantage because I'm infused with chaotic energy, or I have an advantage because I've turned the situation, like whatever the lists are. So giving the advantages themselves some fictional juice might be fun.
Where they might be cursed advantages.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could very easily, if you wanted to make it more complicated or think of it as another stat, like replace the advantages with something like blessed, that functions
Yeah.
very similar to being cursed, right?
Mhm.
But it
Yeah.
changes the narrative. I think
or glorious. Yeah.
I think the problem with
Yeah.
needing advantages is that what it actually means is that it encourages you to roll twice to accomplish the first
One
thing you want to
thing.
do.
Yeah.
And you never, I always at least am like, how can I roll less?
Right,
or how
right.
like not as a player. I like rolling as a player, but it's like, generally I'm like, how do I require less rolls to get
And
or
like
maybe
Ray said,
to encourage teamwork, like maybe only other people can give you advantages, maybe you can't give an advantage to yourself.
I'm really just trying to break up.
I think that's the same problem,
that,
but this
I'm trying to break up those fights that are just I hit the thing, I hit it again,
well, that's
to,
I feel like that's also, I think we had this chat at some point, but that's also like a scale question, right? Like, is there a problem with saying that every time a player succeeds, they overcome the opponent they're fighting, right? Like,
that's how
because,
PvT combat should be, right?
And that's like
that's
sword and sorcery, right? It's like you don't see Conan get stuck on a grunt ever, right? Like you don't see, it's like it's only in these really, and you don't even see them get stuck in one-on-one battles. You see like stuff happening, right? Like the world, like the room caves in or whatever, and they get separated for a bit and have to fight. Like it's not this constant back and forth of 1v1 duel. And so I feel like it's like, do you even need to have NPC wounds, or can it just be like, the same as the ugly move that I have, right? The ugly thing where it's like on a full success, you destroy it utterly, right? Any kind of combat move can be the same. On a full success, it's done. That character is done, which encourages me to take on cursed dice in order to try and guarantee that happens or whatever, right? Like,
but then similarly, there ought to be some big bads that you can't just attack directly.
Remember they have different components that need to be defeated in like I have to take the gem out and I have to trip it, or I have to call it bad names, and then we beat it.
But you can't just slash at it, where that's not going to work.
I mean, I think it's like, I think with those big bads though, is the interesting thing to do with them combat, right? Because is it about does a big bad need to be able to take 6 hits, or does a big bad need to be a more interesting confrontation than hitting each other?
Exactly.
I don't actually know that I agree. This is totally a personal statement. I don't know that I agree that big bads need to be able to take more hits, because I don't think that just hitting them over, I don't think they become more meaningful by me rolling 3 times and having a success.
Right, totally.
And
that'll let you have big bads that are just like guys that happen to be powerful in some other way. Like if you hit them with a sword, they'll go down, but that's not what makes them bad.
And if you hit them with a sword and they go down,
great.
The complication might be something else, right?
Exactly.
The implications of that might be that you miss every piece of information you want, or you end up feeling you realize that they were being mind controlled by somebody and it wasn't their fault, and you just murdered somebody innocent, right? Like there's all these other things that can come from that.
Sure.
And I think it's hard, because I think the convention is to say like big bads mean we have to have a big battle,
right?
And I think, and that's like, but big battle doesn't mean roll more dice, right? Big battle could be, I spent 10 minutes telling you the arena that we are in. I made it feel grand, and I
was just thinking about that. I mean, I think fights are an expected part of this genre, and so
but you're making the queer version. You don't have to.
You
don't have to pay attention to the conventions, right? Like that's the whole. It says on the label, I'm subverting it.
But Mary, you were saying that like the advantages felt restricting, right? Like that. Was it like Max was saying, where you just have to roll twice to do the same thing?
Yeah, and the fact that you have to roll to get an advantage conflicts with like doing other non-rolled things that you might like do to set up yourself in a better position.
Right. Yeah, that ought to maybe just be part of the fiction, that you have to establish something in the fiction that gets you an in to do the attack. Where and then that's just GM advice of like, they can't just go in and attack the thing. That's not a story. Yeah, that's okay. That's helpful. Nice. Okay, yeah, that's great. Thanks you all. I'm gonna rework this some more, and if you have any other comments, feel free to ping me on email or Slack. And I'm gonna make this a game that's really engaging and has meaningful choices. I just need to get better at that so that I can do that, because it's hard.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for being here with it and being here for it. So so can we do this again next Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Also, I will
Awesome.
say it's definitely moving in that direction, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Seeing like the
Thanks.
progression is there and apparent. It is not.
Awesome.
I feel like sometimes it's hard with feedback because you're always like, well, it could change, which kind of has this implication of that it needs all this change, and I don't want you to leave this feeling that way.
Thank you. You're very
I don't think
kind.
that's a truth.
I've been getting good at taking your feedback, but thank you.
Yeah,
yes.
but it's always hard.
Yes, no, it is.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Awesome. Well, then have a lovely night, and I'll see you all in the Gauntlet, and I'll see you next week.
Cool. We'll see you next time.
See you later.
Thanks. Bye.